the best offering to have? And maybe like, let's say I come in and say, oh, I'm looking for a laptop for the office. And so if you're looking for a laptop, you want to present me with 3 laptops. You don't want to present me with 1 laptop. And the reason why I say that is if you present me with 1 laptop, it's easy for me to say no. Oh, do you want this laptop? No, I don't, thank you. Just like when we walk into a store, what is the job of the customer versus what's the job of the salesperson? As a customer, what are we trying to do? We are trying not to give the salesperson eye contact, right? Because we don't want to talk to them. Salesperson comes by, we've got our head down, they say, hi, how you doing? And you say, just looking. When I used to give that opening and say, hi, how you doing today? And they would say, just looking. And I said, well, I didn't ask you if you're looking or not. I asked, how are you doing today? Sometimes people, you can tell if they're active listening or not by the way they respond to you. Are they really responding to what you said, or did they give you a conditioned response? Well, I'm just looking. That's the conditioned response. So when you go through the process to be successful, we don't want to push a product. And we said in those discussion boards, gosh, we really hate when people push a product. So if I'm selling a laptop and I give you 3 choices, I'm not going to give you those 3 choices right away. When you come in the store, I'm not going to say, hi, how you doing today? Well, I'm looking for a laptop. Well, here's the 3 choices. Like the televisions. They had probably 65 to 70 different TVs, ranging in size from a 19-inch television to a 60-inch mega TV, right? Anywhere from $199 to $6,000 to $10,000 for these TVs, depending on which size you were getting. There's certain things. You're not just going to say, oh, I'm looking for a TV. Oh, here's a $10,000 TV. When in my mind, I'm thinking, I just want one for my office. I want the $199 TV. So you need to start this off by making sure you're asking the customer the right questions to develop which products you will be giving them. Now you're probably saying, well, how do I know which products to give for the presentation? You still want to give them an option. You may be XYZ company. We had one where a person was selling power tools to a contractor and started off with asking questions of what kind of power tools do you currently use? Do you have any current needs? What if you had any, and ask questions like, if you had any problems with your current products, what would they be? When you purchase a power tool, what's important to you? You want to ask these introductory questions to get an idea of where the customer is coming from. We had a salesman come in to give us a price quote on some windows. And the person came in and basically started off with some questions. Why do you want new windows? What is it that you're looking for from your window? What's your current heating bills? What look are you looking for? Are you looking for a wood grain finish? Or are you looking for an off-white finish? Just ask us a good 15 or 20 questions ahead of time, just so then they could say, okay, based on your information, here's the product I would recommend to you. So going back to our laptop scenario, if you come in and say, hey, I'm looking for a laptop, you say, oh, I've got this Toshiba right here, and it's $1,500. You want to give them that option. You want to ask them those questions. Think about it in your head. We're talking about these features and benefits. In your head, what are the questions I would want to ask a customer to find out really what they were looking for? So if I said, well, I'm looking for a laptop, I'm looking anywhere between just something to put Microsoft Office in, maybe do some email on. All right, now you have an idea of, okay, what type of computer they're going to be looking for. And then what other questions do you think you might want to ask? You might want to ask a question of, well, what size screen are you looking for? Now you can limit those choices down. Because you might have 35 laptops. You're not going to sell them by saying, here's our 35 laptops. And what I like to do, because a lot of times customers have 2 areas that are fighting each other. What I want the machine to do, or what I want the product to do, versus how much I have to spend on it. So somewhere in this questioning part, early on during the process, needs to be, what is your budget? And see, the thing is, you want to ask these questions. You You want to get as many of these questions in the beginning of this process. Because, as we said in our things, we don't like it when someone just starts pushing a product on us. We want to be there to help the customer. We want to be there to say, hey, I understand you've got a problem. Let's work together to fix it. So we come back to the laptops. So, okay, I've got 3 different laptops that we're going from. And generally, I go to the small or the low, medium, and high. So I give them 3 options that fit their specific needs. And so from low, medium, and high, then I say, okay, here's the product demonstration for each one of these laptops. Which one do you want? Now by asking, which one do you want, I've eliminated a conditioned response of no. If I ask the right questions ahead of time, when a person says, okay, which one do you want? It's like, oh, I don't know. I think it's, gosh, I'll have to come back. All right, you don't want that customer to walk out the door. Now we can follow up, well, sir, just let me, or ma'am, let me ask you this question. Based on the questions that we asked today, you said you were looking for something that did this, and that was within this price range. What else am I missing to close the sale with you? Because did I meet those expectations? So someone can't say, well, it's too expensive. Well, what is too expensive? You told me this was your price range. So at this point in time, you will get truly to what I call the heart of the matter, which means you'll find out, is this a legitimate customer? How warm of a prospect is this? Or is this person just trying to get a price from you? Because that's going to happen. When you're selling products, people are going to come in the door just to get a price from you. Maybe they're trying to get their current vendor a lower price. In business to business, the biggest problem we have to worry about is, are we actually presenting to the person who can make that final decision? Maybe you're ending up talking to someone's assistant, someone from a different department. What you don't want to do is go through a 45-minute sales presentation and then the person say, oh, let me talk to my boss. They're the one who's making the decision. Well, building that relationship didn't do you all that much good at that point in time. Because you want to get in to see the boss. You want to be in front of the person making the decision. You don't have that much time in your day to be making presentations to people who aren't making the decisions. I've had people say, oh, I was just getting a price so I could get my current vendor lower. I had one situation where I gave a person, I can talk about the companies, both of them are out of business. I worked for a company called Computer City. We sold computers, and across the street was Circuit City. This person came in, and I gave a presentation to her, and it was probably about a 25-minute presentation. And she didn't buy anything. I was a little bit disappointed, but you know, in the sales process, you move on. About 15 minutes later, phone calls. Says, hi, this is XYZ from Circuit City. I was just in, and I thought you gave a really nice sales presentation. I was wondering if you'd be interested in coming and working for us across the street at Circuit City. So it was their job interview, really, without me really knowing about it. So people will come in for a variety of different reasons. And people will pull your chain and say, oh, they may have no interest in selling. By asking those questions ahead of time, you get a very good idea of what the potential customer is looking at. I was watching a show on Bravo, I think it's called $1 Million Listing. And they had one of the agents who was working with someone to kind of train her to become a real estate agent. She's like, oh, I'm excited. I have my first private showing. And so they're showing the people around, and they're just kind of bad-mouthing the whole house. And he says, oh, are you from the area? It's like, oh yeah, we live next door. He's like, oh, you live next door, your house is for sale, isn't it? So they set up that whole meeting to walk through that house. They had no intention to buy the house. They wanted to see what that house was getting for that dollar amount and try to see if their house was overpriced, why their house wasn't selling. So they had no desire to buy that house. You know, that's why a lot of times open houses for real estate may not be effective, because how many people, that first weekend that house is open, you know who's going in through there? Everybody who lives in the neighborhood. They want to see what's in that house. They want to see, well, what can I sell my house for if I was going to sell it? So those are things that you kind of have to